You're listening to the Fear in the Southwest podcast. This is Drew.
I'm Stephanie.
Alan.
This is Ryan.
What's up, guys? Another episode for season 4. Ooh. We got a good one.
Oh, yeah.
A weird one, anyway.
Well, the more weirder, the more better for us, right?
Oh, yeah.
Weird is always great.
So.
That sounded weird.
I'm weird.
I mean,
you weird?
We like
some
the
silly
weird.
topics.
Who's weird enough today?
Just
Hope you guys are weird at home.
Hope you all got your weird out.
Because we can wax it.
Oh, my God. We're really
I
going
really
into
could.
this.
I can. I can wax anything weird. Just throwing it out there.
We're not even a minute in the episode.
Side service.
Oh, my.
So Fear in the
I
Southwest
don't know.
podcast is starting a side hustle.
You know?
Sasquatch waxing.
Sasquatch waxing.
Sometimes you
We'll
just gotta
show
get it, girl.
up, show up to your doorstep in a Sasquatch outfit,
Roar.
ready to wax
Man.
anything.
Sasquatch. Wax my sass. That's a great.
Cue verbal wink here. Wink, wink.
All right.
Don't mind
All
me.
right, so what are we talking about today?
Ooh, mass disappearances and mass hysteria.
Yeah.
Oh.
Things go missing.
Things go wrong.
Or
Things
crazy.
get weird.
Yeah, things get really weird
Really, really weird.
and illogical.
Ah. Typically, mass hysteria and mass disappearances are typically not logical. Or they don't make sense. Or
But they're-
something's missing.
I think mass hysteria
I see what you did
is
there.
often like mass hysterical. Because of the things that they end up doing.
What was the one you were telling me about? Like they made people just dance to death.
Oh, Strasbourg in Germany. In the 1518.
That's a beer fest you don't want to go to.
Yeah, no. I mean, it became like Woodstock, I guess. Well, one day this one woman just started dancing, and then more people. Within the week, there were like 40 or 50 of them. They never stopped. They just started passing out on their feet,
Oh, my God.
eating while they danced. They broke their backs.
I think I just got sick thinking about that.
Their feet bled. I mean,
Yeah, they pooped while
and
they
it
danced.
became a bigger and bigger thing until they figured that the only way to like medically treat the whole dance fever was to make them dance more, so that they would hate it. So they built a stage and hired
While dancing.
Yeah.
Built the stage while dancing.
It was
and
not
shitting.
level. It was not level at all.
I'm sorry. They must have had a special dance for the shit part. Guys, it's the shit dance. I gotta go.
Drew's dancing up and down.
But they had musicians playing all around the day, all hours.
Musicians making money.
Shit dance was the first twerking.
It's 15.
True
Yeah,
facts.
absolutely.
That's actually where twerking comes
That's
from.
a fact.
So all you twerkers out there.
Things
who
are
came from the
weird when
shit
you get in
dance.
Germany. Yeah,
But they danced themselves to death, didn't they?
yeah. Some hundreds by the end.
What was their purpose?
There was
Like,
a
just
point where
to dance.
people were dying a dozen a day
Oh, my God.
from
dancing.
dancing themselves to death. Right.
What the?
So yeah, and these people they
What?
determined that these dancers must have extra hot blood. So they also did some bloodletting.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Holy
That
crap!
was crazy. Yeah.
What?
That must have been
and
messy.
they made them dance more off the stage. It became like a huge issue. Of course, it became a huge issue.
I have to say this. I don't think it was aliens, but it was aliens. They did it for
Yeah.
pure
It was
entertainment.
possession.
Yeah.
That's why
Demonic
Absolutely.
possession.
E.T. wanted to see a dance party that never ended.
He dropped a big beat, and people got down.
DJ ET
Yeah,
in
people
the
just got
house.
with it, and
my.
it became a big issue in Strasbourg, Germany.
Why there?
I don't know
They're too angry.
what.
They
one
need to
day,
let
yeah,
loose.
some random woman in a
For fun.
town square just started dancing.
What do you think that lady thought? She's like, I was just dancing. This is my way to go. But everyone started following me.
There is a psychology to it where people, they say if you're in a group of people and one person is doing movement, whether it's rocking back and forth or bouncing or even dancing, it is contagious. And other people will start swaying in the same way as the other person. They're observing, and eventually the body will do what it's observing.
So you're saying it's like dance fever?
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily explain
Imagine.
why they would literally do it like to the point where
Of
they
death.
die.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
We're talking about heart attacks. We're talking about organ failure.
What makes
we're talking
bloodletting.
about
When you see
severe
50
fatigue.
people in the room start to go dance, and some people do and some people don't, you know? I wonder what that like really depends upon.
Did they make a law like you have to dance now?
They have a law in Strasbourg that they're not allowed to.
Like Footloose.
Yeah,
Like
exactly
Footloose,
like
yeah,
Footloose.
not allowed to dance.
Was that after the fact that people
But-
died from dancing?
Probably, yeah,
That
probably
makes
because of
sense now,
Footloose.
huh?
Probably because of Footloose.
I was thinking the Dance Dance Revolution.
They didn't have that then, did they?
Forbidden.
That was the first one.
They're like drawing arrows in the sea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's classic. That's classic mass hysteria.
Dance till you die.
They still have dance-a-thons, especially like the 50s. They would have them too, and
Like-
people would die of exhaustion or be hospitalized for dehydration.
What are you in? What are you in for? I was dancing again.
I couldn't stop.
I couldn't stop dancing. I shit on the road.
Yeah, people had to be fed. People died. They died of exhaustion from dancing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I learned how to eat food while bouncing.
Put
In
that on
weird
a
position.
resume.
People do some weird stuff at Wicker Man.
So what's your special ability? I can eat on the go,
On the fly.
on the fly.
I'm flexible and I can eat.
Well, there's another mass hysteria incident known as the meowing nuns. And that's a fun one.
Yeah, that is fun.
The meowing nun.
So the
I
story,
like how they stopped it. Yeah.
yeah, let's tell a story and not ruin it for the audience. But
Okay.
so it started off with this nun in like this monastery who just started meowing one day, and like the other nuns apparently started copying her, and it was just this little thing. It was just kind of like, saying cool, or like some sort of like verbal phrase that you catch from your friends. But
getting
the next
hot.
day happened again, and as it kept happening every day thereforth, but kept getting longer each day, to the point where it was like 7 hours
Oh my gosh.
of these nuns not being able to do anything but meow. And afterwards, what was peculiar is afterwards, they wouldn't really like talk like anything changed, like just memory wipe. Like they go on with their day after it's over. And it was the soldiers who realized that this was turning into a problem.
Soldiers in the area, yeah.
Yep. And,
They mobilized.
So the soldiers, after reporting to their commanders, they were given instructions to enclose the nuns to prevent spread, in case it's like a disease, and to beat the living shit out of these nuns until they stopped.
Beat the nuns. I agree. I mean, they're so judgmental.
Gotta beat the cat out of them.
like-
Yeah, exactly.
It's just
Maybe they're the Fae.
yeah. It could have been iron rods. Could have been iron rods.
what makes me think it's even funnier is that wasn't like an isolated event. Like in France, a few years after that, they ended up having a big issue with a bunch of nuns that are chasing each other and biting each other. So there was that. Yeah, there
like
was
a
the cat
progression.
nuns,
The
and then
progression.
there's the biting nuns.
Yeah.
What the heck? Wait a minute. You're
Still
telling me
cat behavior.
still cat behavior?
Yeah. Still cat behavior.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
They ended up,
That's
like-
next year's the hissing nuns.
The hissing nuns.
Yeah.
The meowing, the biting, the hissing.
The fighting.
Yeah.
The fighting.
The one who, the nuns that just need their claws.
Yeah.
So you mean the ones that cook, the biscuit makers, right? Needing that bread. Need that bread.
Yeah, they're just licking each other for hours. I don't know what's going on.
They are stuck at that convent.
Yeah.
She's coughing up a hairball.
It could
They
have
were
been
going to be licking
hysteria.
each other at any reason.
It could have been hysteria, sexual frustration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have been changelings. True.
Yeah.
could have been changelings. Could have been
all of the
Santa.
above. Maybe they were trying to lure the soldiers for a mate,
Maybe.
and they thought meowing was
Meow,
the,
yeah.
Yeah.
was the
meow at them.
solution.
It's
Because
like-
that's what cats do. They go out, they find a
Like,
mate,
I like
they
this
meow.
guy. Yeah.
The original
Yeah.
cat call.
Exactly. Maybe that was the whole point.
Yeah, got a lot of
Instead, they
originals
got
going on here.
beaten.
Hey, man. Can be hard to keep the cream from the cats.
What? We need more cream. Meow.
That's an exciting place.
Don't
to
give the
be.
nuns cream. It makes it worse.
There's gonna be a sign on the door. Don't give cream to the nuns.
Don't beat the nuns.
Oh my goodness. That should totally be on a t-shirt.
Don't give cream to nuns.
Don't give
Meowing
cream
nuns.
Like one of the kind of like fashion like one of the zoo signs. Like don't feed the chimps, you know.
Don't feed them cream.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Did they get noise complaints?
Obviously.
I mean,
Yeah. That's why soldiers came to beat up the nuns.
I think that was enough.
It
Yeah.
was an issue.
Maybe they issued a verbal warning, and the second was
Maybe they
Some
fucked up. Maybe they were
stable
supposed to
boy ended
meow
up,
the
like-
warning.
Like walking by the nunnery and saw all this happening.
I just want to know like how the people who are actually there for worship felt about that. You know, like imagine it's just like, oh, you know, I'm go to church on a
They were
Sunday,
miserable.
and then like mid sermon, just meow, meow, like in the middle of prayer, like all the nuns just start meowing. It's just like,
When I-
All
excuse
the
me,
books and everything
I'm trying
just
to
smells like
concentrate
ammonia
here.
all the time from the nuns.
I also visualize them doing like a cat pose because kind of like in yoga. Have you ever been to a yoga class where
That's
they
why
make
I
you
thought it
meow
was-
or they make you roar and
So that's where that came from.
you put your butt in and then you stick your butt out and then you meow. That's exactly
You stick your butt in and you shake it
What
all
I
about.
I don't think I had that
in a
yoga
nun
class, but
I don't know what kind of yoga class I took then.
it's kind of like the
sure that was
biting
yoga?
nuns.
oh man, this is how you get stuck in your previous job.
So that's how you turn to waxing, huh?
Kind of like how I envision the biting nuns having like big fake clattering cheek like teeth.
Yeah.
You know, like the toy teeth. You know, just
They're just
Yeah, these are-
marching.
yeah, just chasing each other around, just like clattering teeth, just trying to bite each other.
Nuns, fucking weird.
Right?
But it wasn't just them.
Whoa, did you
Oh,
hear
that
that?
was an interesting sound. Where's that come from?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the seat?
It sounded like a swing set,
That
but
was
there was
weird.
like something afterwards, like a.
Or was
Yeah,
it
that
a
was
ghost?
strange. I thought the door, one of these doors.
I know
Yeah,
it sounded
same.
like
I
something
was
was
looking-
swinging open.
Yeah, that was weird. Talk about
Ooh.
distraction.
That's what we get for talking about nuns.
Yeah, the biting nuns are gonna
You
get you in
don't
your
talk
sleep.
about the diocese.
I was just here for prayer, and they just started meowing.
Biting each other.
Went to the wrong one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baptists.
You don't even want to know what they said about their kitties. Sorry. All right. So what's another
I mean,
mass hysteria?
there's a lot
episode?
of things that were labeled as mass
I think we're living in a
hysteria.
mass hysteria right now.
I mean,
Maybe.
if
Unexplained
you want to
sounds.
question reality, I guess reality and life as we know it could be a mass hysteria or mass hallucination. Matrix.
I heard we were a simulation once.
But it's really weird because like the government, they always seem to label things as mass hysteria for things that just can't be explained. Like the Phoenix Lights, they tried passing off as mass hysteria. I mean,
some sort of hallucination.
It's a convenient excuse for the government.
they're just like, oh, you guys
It
just
is weird,
imagined it
though,
all.
that 1000s of people in a city that have millions of people.
Sorry, entire community of people. You imagined
certain
it.
cameras caught it.
Yeah,
Certain cameras didn't.
Right now,
certain
the FBI is
people
going to be
caught
contacting me now.
it. Somehow. It's interesting. It's interesting.
It makes you
Definitely.
wonder if they have like the same device they used in Men in Black.
Erase their
Yeah.
memory.
Huh? What happened?
I feel like someone does that to me like every morning. Yeah, I have like no memory.
As he stares deeply into a light the audience can't see.
I know.
Well, I keep on hearing it, don't you?
Yeah, there's a weird sound in this room.
Weird
It's
sound
like
going on.
We are picking something up.
definitely. Oops. We talked about nuns, and
Now it's
now
massive.
they're talking about us.
Maybe this is hysteria.
Maybe.
Maybe it's not there and we're just imagining it.
All right, I'm going to move in my chair. There we go.
Moving my chair, check.
That wasn't mine.
Well, I'm not moving at all. I'm pretty still.
Interesting.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's strange.
What's another mass hysteria? Anybody else got any more mass hysterias to talk about?
There was a similar one with a bunch of kids from the 60s.
Oh, the fainting teens?
No, not those ones. There's a town that does that too. A town that still does that.
They also breed the fainting goats.
I hope so.
Poor goats.
That sounds like a magical place. You just walk by a park and there are goats everywhere and everyone's asleep. Mm-hmm. Cool.
There's always a hysteria. Like, we can't go 10 years without one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got the Salem Witch Trials.
Oh,
That was a mass
that
hysteria.
was a mass hysteria.
there
That's
we
a good
go.
one.
And
A bunch of innocent people were executed. They were hung. One person was stoned to death because people
One
who just
person.
didn't like each other,
One
pointing the
person.
finger. While they would, scare people to the point where they would point the finger at anyone if it meant that they would be spared and not tortured or taken somewhere. Because whoever wasn't executed in Salem was taken to Boston, and sometimes, they would.
I used to own a
Just-
copy of the Malleus Maleficarum, the Witch Hunter's Handbook. That was a terrifying time
The things
in
they
history.
did, yeah.
So how Monty Python was it?
Not at all. I mean, it was ridiculous like that, but it was horrendous.
Any
a torture
marking,
manual
yeah.
that says that you probably won't save this person. They're either getting given up to God or given up to the devil, and that's basically how they approach a situation of a woman who's been accused of witchcraft.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. You torture them until they say I'm a witch.
Pretty
and then
much,
you kill
yeah.
them for it.
And then sometimes to spare the torture, or they can endure the torture, they would just name anybody or someone they didn't like. So then they would go to them and target them. But it was anything from
I
a
was
weird
bedeviled.
marking on their arm. That meant they were a witch. You stared at someone and then they tripped a few seconds later. You were a witch. You'd cause them to trip. It was just insane. And it causes mass hysteria.
She can read. She's a witch.
She can think she's a witch.
They brought
I
ergot.
saw her
into
chewing
that
on a leaf earlier.
They
She's a
brought the
witch.
mold or the spores ergot,
Yes. Yeah, it was
So-
like a fungal.
and that's a common explanation for almost all mass hysteria events.
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy it.
Well, I mean,
Some type of
when you see
mold, some type of plant, or just toxin that makes
people
them
go
hallucinate.
nuts. People go crazy, demented when they were affected by ergotism.
Yeah.
But and so they think if you're dealing with this strange event, a bunch of people just start running around acting like cats, or laughing
like cats.
or
Yeah.
meowing, whatever. Yeah.
Sister Margaret, get down
Then
off that counter.
It's most likely ergot because
No
all
treats
these
for
people.
you.
Because what started it was the Reverend's daughter. They're one of the youngest daughters. They were all in the forest. They were dancing naked. They were chanting stuff. And they got caught by the Reverend. And the girl was so fearful that she went catatonic. She couldn't speak. She couldn't move. So they blamed it on witchcraft, especially because one of their slaves, to be honest, was Haitian. And so they started to blame her. And so in fear of her life, she started to point the finger. Then they started to point the finger. Everyone started to point
And-
the finger that someone was a witch.
And so everybody
And a
died.
couple of really nasty little girls.
Yes, and they
Used it
were
as a
all
weapon.
little girls. That's the thing. And some say that if you've ever watched The Crucible, it was
It's rough,
in terms of
yeah.
jealousy.
Yeah, these were faces that were accusers, and they had accused several other. It is really messed up.
It was, and they put on a production during the trials, which weren't even a trial. The person couldn't even speak. They say someone came to them in the night and made them sign the devil's book. And they did this with werewolves too, but not here in the U.S.
They did that in France, absolutely.
The werewolf trials.
And that's ergotism is a big issue in that. The rotten rye bread that the French had during that time, it made a lot of people crazy with ergotism.
Yes.
But, I mean, they could be running around acting like an animal, sure, but something a bit more like leprosy. Not usually a bunch of people who are identifying as cats for 2 hours a day.
So it's like acid versus bath salts. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's why people don't like getting pointed at.
Yeah.
No, you point the finger.
No.
It comes from that.
I mean, that just feels weird, anyways. I mean, just don't point
Yeah.
don't point at me.
Seriously, if there's like one person over there and everyone just started pointing at him,
Can you imagine?
right? Yeah. You just go into a restaurant or something and everyone in there just sort of.
Oh my gosh, that would be a hilarious flash event to happen in like a busy city. Just like to hire out an
Right.
entire restaurant and be like, okay, this next guy who walks through the door, wait 5 minutes and everybody slowly turn and point at him and
I
stare.
like the ones where people just start like gasping and running. And so
That's when he
someone is,
leaves.
like,
That's when he leaves the restaurant.
someone's trying to look for whatever's coming after them.
just running through the street.
Like, we were just fucking with you. There was nothing.
Yeah, we did that as a prank. That person will be scarred for life.
Yeah.
But it's amazing
I
how
hope so.
people follow. Like if you could be on a busy street and you could just stop somewhere and start looking up at the sky. Eventually, someone else will look up. Then other people will look. Before you know it, you have a whole group of people looking up, and you're going to be like, "What are you looking at?" I don't know, but everyone's
You see a
looking up.
plane with
I've done
the.
that.
That's how
friends.
hysteria starts,
I've done that.
though.
I've done that with friends though, where we'll all decide that we're going to look at a wall, and the person just sort of trying to hang out, but still can't figure out what we're all looking at. Yeah.
What are you staring at the sky? It's a plane with one of those like ribbons back. You suck.
Well, I mean that actually brings me to a different story. In Portugal during World War I, there was a group of like 3 kids. They were shepherds' kids who basically came to the city, and it's like a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and they said that they had talked with the Virgin Mary, and that on October 13th at this time, there's going to be miracles in the sky. And it became such like a big, viral piece of news of that time. 30,000 people showed up, and they all talk about the miracles they all saw. The sun turn different colors and dance around in the sky. All these different images, and they varied like huge amounts from person to person. But all of these people could pass polygraphs saying that they saw the Virgin Mary come and touch them on the head, and they saw the sun spin around like a top,
I mean, the
That's
sun
crazy.
does spin like a top. But anyways,
Random thought. So back to that, people staring at the sky. Maybe it'd be more effective if those damn scam calls. Like you look up the sky, we're trying to get a hold of you of your car's extended warranty. Ah, shit. They're in the air now.
Had at that time was the perfect amount of a bunch of people who need this, right? And that show up to see this miracle.
who knew that?
They were all ready to see it, so it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to tell.
Who knew that UFO sightings would have ad interruptions?
Right?
We interrupt this UFO sighting with the important news.
About your extended car warranty.
Have you heard of car
Davidson's probes. Nothing probes like Davidson's.
Fear of the Southwest waxing?
Yeah. Sasquatch.
Yeah. Gotta
That would be awesome.
wax your sass with the crew.
Sasquatch. If you're in the Southwest podcast, introduces Sasquatch waxing.
No one knows hair like the Squatch.
Running a special.
Do you want a ghoul in your pants? We can
Sauce
get you a
Fairy
ghoul in your
Oh
pants.
my god.
I like how
on
we're
butt
saying this
waxing.
and everyone's looking up.
Yeah, we are. Like,
We're testing that theory. That's what I was doing.
there's a big imagination
Confirmed.
bubble happening
Yeah.
right now.
I just get like distracted because there's the javelina's head on the wall right there.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
have a javelina mount, and
Sorry, Peter.
those of you who
Oomba.
don't know what a
Poor bastard.
javelina is, it's a rodent, but it looks like a pig. Because when I lived
That's
in
a
Washington,
rodent?
It's a
yeah, when I
It's a
lived in
rodent family,
Washington,
yes.
nobody knew
It's
what
a
a
peccary.
javelina was.
It's a peccary.
Yeah, I had to show people what a javelina was. Like I'd be in
No.
Washington talking, they're like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "Javelina, what is that?" And so I'd have to Google pictures to show them what it looked like.
It's literally in the rat family. Not kidding.
It's considered a
peccary.
rodent. Yes.
Peccary.
I don't like this.
But it's like a pig-like animal. It has a snout and everything. But
It's huge.
they dig up gardens, trash.
Can you eat them?
Some people hunt them. Yeah, and they eat them, make sausage.
They can actually be a little. They can actually be a little dangerous though.
Yeah, because they don't
they can
see well.
charge like 20-something miles an hour, short period. To,
Yeah, like a boar.
Yeah,
Yeah, like a javelin. That's
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Probably how they got their name.
That is exactly how.
Javelina.
I'm like, oh, this is news.
They can be destructive. A lot of people see them as a nuisance, but
How did we
they
get
do
from
attack dogs sometimes, though.
How we get from mass hysteria to pig rodents?
You kind of got to mess with them though, right? They
Yeah,
they
they-
stay in the same like quarter mile their entire life, and they're really territorial about that piece of land.
That's
Yeah.
my rock.
They don't want to like leave unless they have to.
Yeah.
And don't be around a mother with babies around.
Oh, she'll get you.
Oh, yeah.
They don't see well to begin with, just like most pigs. They can't see very well, and so anything that startles them, they'll come at you.
Yeah, and they're strong and they hit you in the shins.
Yeah.
Sounds awful.
Like a really
Yeah, man.
buff dwarf just kicking the crap out of you.
All right, guys. Mass disappearances.
Yeah, well, we
Okay.
talked about some of those last week, didn't we? Talked about the Mary Celeste just a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Think bigger.
There's definitely
The Aztecs.
Yeah, the Aztecs. Where'd they go?
There's a
the
lot
Mayans.
of conspiracies with that.
Mayans, yeah.
The Mayans kind of disappeared. The Aztecs, we kind of know what we. The Europeans killed
Yeah,
the Aztecs.
colonization.
They were Stone Age. People showed up with armored horses.
Who hasn't the
And that didn't
Europeans
work
killed
out.
in mass? I mean, am I out of place to say that? But
They forgot their iron sticks.
But yeah, the Spaniards came. They invaded. They brought their horses. They brought their animals that
This Cortez.
took over
And Cortez
vegetation.
burnt the ships when they arrived. He burnt the ships down in the port and said, "Conquer or die."
that's such a douche move.
Yeah, that's the point. But that was also so he couldn't be made to return to the Queen of Spain.
True.
They ended up sending someone and bringing an army against him, but he ended up using his army and a bunch of tribes from the outskirts of the Aztec Empire to defeat that army, and then usurp the power. I mean, Cortez was a genius, but he was a mean person.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of these towns, these villages, had pretty intricate structures. People think they had nothing. They were just leveled out, but they had cities, they had housing, they had all kinds of stuff and resources.
Yeah, just watch Road to El Dorado.
Cities on grids.
Yeah, exactly. And these, they were just demolished. They were
Advanced masonry.
run out of them. Yeah.
Not necessarily demolished; they were just gone.
Yeah.
Like they still had stuff there. That's the weirdest part. Is that they label it a mass disappearance rather than an extinction, because there's still like pottery, still pots, and like like not clothing article, but like evidence of stuff being there. Like no one necessarily left. Like it's not like they relocated or they slowly died out, because there would be like the levels of dying out, which would be panic, raiding, like stuff like that. Things would be stolen and people would leave with stuff. It would be looted, but no, it's just like poof, gone.
Like things were left as
the Anasazi was a huge empire.
Yeah.
And from here, the majority of like where the Anasazi used to be was in New Mexico, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Where they had massive structures cut into mountainsides, cities like hive cities, carved into mountains.
It was the home of the dwarves.
Maybe. But yeah, that one people they just don't know where they went. They have no idea like what happened to the Anasazi. We have some questions about the Mayans still. But yeah, man, that's
Atlantis.
Yeah, see, there
a lot of those.
Now we're talking about aliens because
I unleashed
Ryan's been holding this in for a long time. Okay, Ryan's
as do American Masons.
Let me learn you something, sir. But but no,
aliens been pyramiding the whole time.
I think that these civilizations reached a certain point of it. Quotation marks for those who are listening, of it, whatever aliens are trying to get humans to accomplish, and then they just get taken away for whatever purpose. I'm no alien, so I can't tell exactly what that is, but it seems to be a pattern. Super, super advanced, way beyond their years, and then it's like they all hit a certain milestone.
Oh, all the way, even back before ancient Babylon, absolutely. Like the Sumerian culture. Mm-hmm. They end up telling the exact same stories too, about giant not men but pseudo deities.
And that's when we get
Can you spell that?
interbreeding too. A lot of the aliens were said to interbreed with humans. Especially if they plan to be here for a certain amount of time. They usually had some type of mission that they needed humans for. And so breeding occurred.
Is there a chance that I might be one? I never met my baby daddy.
Very true. No.
I'm like,
it'd be really cool if it'd be really interesting if Ancestry.com could tell me what's,
unidentified race.
Yeah.
we've never seen this DNA before in our catalog.
Yeah, I am.
2%. What?
I am 0.2% unknown. So that's great. That explains a lot about me.
That'd be something.
Thanks, Ancestry.
You are
like
alien.
me, like Central African.
The joke is he's white. All right. So, any other mass disappearances there's countless tales of just like regular disappearances, that go unexplained. Even some people just witnessing other people just gone, boop, gone.
Yeah.
Boop, gone.
Well, the big one's Roanoke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Roanoke.
That's the interesting one.
Tell us about
They
it.
say it's like the oldest. They call it the oldest mystery. One of the first colonies in North Carolina. It's on an island in Dare County. They basically had a skeleton crew come and assemble the bones of a new colony. So 20 people come with materials and they build and they create relationships with native tribes, and then they end up
Giving them blankets.
yeah, well, that's a different story.
Don't take the blanket.
Yeah, there was no viral warfare at that point, but
What are you doing?
Okay, so they left again. They sent the first people in. They set up the actual colony itself, and even created a small fort because they had some arguments with non-friendly tribes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it takes a year or two to get across the ocean and then come back with a bunch more supplies. So they and Sir Walter Raleigh sent another group of 100 people out with more supplies. They laid that down. They had a lot of issues over a couple of like dry, cold seasons. They needed extra supplies and hopefully soldiers, because they ended up having to make a little fort
For protection.
for potential like skirmishes with the other tribes.
Arrows hurt.
Yeah, they suck. They suck. And they were like everywhere. Arrows were just everywhere.
Yeah. Partially cloudy with a chance of arrows.
There's another shirt.
So more
Arrows
supplies and more people and protection are supposed to show up, but it's the Anglo-Spanish War, and the Spanish Armada is kind of in the way. They can't just
Go past it.
Yeah. And what's interesting is he actually, when he was finally able to get stuff sent back, it was because Sir Francis Drake made a deal with them to actually help them. Give him some men too to hopefully help the new settlers get some protection as soon as they got there. But when the supplies and everyone got back, the whole colony was gone, right? All of the buildings were torn down. The fort had been broken down, and the only thing that was the big piece of like clue was the word Croatoan, like carved into a tree. And
Yeah, no one knows where these people went. They went looking for them. They even followed the Croatoan, thinking that that's an area that they went to. But they couldn't find any evidence. They thought maybe they had mixed with other tribes or nearby tribes or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's they thought that that meant that these colonists went to Croatoan Island.
Yeah.
And then when there was no evidence of them doing that, they believed that they meant that they assimilated with the Croatoan tribe, a tribe from a different area. And neither one really took care of all at answering any of that. I mean, it would take quite a long time to assimilate with a tribe, not 3 years. You know?
Yeah, and for there to not be any like evidence of them. Like
They had good relationships with a number of tribesmen, and especially the ones nearest them, ones that actually helped them fight off non-friendly tribes. But none of those people were given any clue as to where the colonists went.
They just vanished.
Just vanished. What about the Dare Stones?
Yeah, that's the thing. A long time ago, it was called a hoax because they found all of these stones over the period of a short amount of time, mostly by the same guy, and and he found them over a huge stretch of land, like a huge stretch of land, hundreds of miles. When you're thinking these people were on foot, that's crazy.
That's a ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently, the governor's daughter of that time, Eleanor Dare, she was probably the best educated person left, and so it's believed maybe she cut the word into the tree, and then she started carving these massive rocks, each with like a clue
Of what happened to them.
it's sort of a breadcrumbs.
Trail.
And I mean, if those are legitimate and those were that's what they truly were, then that's a really sad story. I mean,
That is.
Like an escalation with tribes, a couple of murders, and then retaliations, Then they fled, and they tried to make a long journey. They got separated, and they were tracked and basically hunted by these tribes for revenge. And the last of them, it seems like, died in some sort of river crossing. They were trying to cross a really dangerous river to get away from people.
I feel like I'm playing Oregon Trail.
Yeah, that's really messed up. It kind of sounds like a Hollywood movie in the making, though.
Yeah.
They've done a few shows on it, and even one of what's called American Horror Story. They did a whole season on Roanoke, and
Oh, really?
they did it made it like a documentary, like a people who've been haunted documentary, and pretty much they indicated that land was very haunted, and a lot of people would go missing. Anyone who moved into this house would be terrorized by spirits, and then they would be killed by a mob of the first colonists that were there because they had made a deal with the land. And they had done a sacrifice on that land, and that just tainted the land and made it evil.
There have always been a ton of fringe science theories.
Yes.
And like claims of the supernatural in that whole disappearance. I don't know where I'd put all my stock, but I can see what would be illogical about them just leaving without any notice. I mean, all these people who are highly literate for the time, and they left no other.
Yeah. And a lot of times when those towns were dying out, they were famished, something was going on, they would pick either one or even two people to make their way and save themselves to deliver a message of what's happened to them. And there was no record of that, anyone making it there.
That's crazy.
Especially if
You have
they're...
time to carve someone into a tree, but you don't.
Usually you do that as a last attempt.
Yeah.
It's also kind of interesting that there was no how do I say, accountability with the allied tribes that were neighboring them. I mean, if they were attacked, like Alan said, you know, they were constantly being helped by these tribes. If they were running out of resources, I'm sure these tribes would probably help them out with that too. You know, like the NATO tribes have taught settlers how to farm and hunt the lands, you know, and stuff before.
They did a lot of it for them.
Yeah.
What if it was?
I know that some of the relationships deteriorated because of how hard a lot of the tribesmen were working to supply food.
That makes me bring up this point. What if it was an inside? What if it was one of their allies, allying with the other one? Like, get with them, be good, be nice, and then turn on them.
It was ergot.
People talk about poisoning. They talk about epidemics.
Oh, yeah.
Like an epidemic, and if they thought that the epidemic was tied to a place, they could take it on the road, and that would just make they would just start dying off.
Maybe it was mass hysteria. These pilgrims were never here to begin with. We don't know what you're
They
talking
were
about.
meowing that whole week.
Then stop meowing.
Maybe the nuns came over. No.
That's why
That
the
would have been
natives
monks.
killed them.
That makes
It's a
would've
sense.
been
new
monks.
thing that they were doing.
Black robes.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there are some genuinely interesting disappearances and some really hysterical mass hysteria.
Right. Be sure to check out our webpage, guys. www.fearinthesouthwestpodcast.com. Check out our Facebook. We'll keep you all up to date there. All of our episodes are posted on the website, and future episodes will be there as well, obviously. It's a great episode.
Yeah, thanks for listening,
Where's your
guys.
waxing kit?
I know, right? We're going to...
You've been listening to the Fear in the Southwest podcast. This is Drew.
Stephanie.
Alan.
And Ryan.
Thanks for listening. Stay creepy, my friends.
Bye-bye now.